we're in hotels walking past people who are being trafficked, maybe children.
And there's people on staff in the hotel that knows what's going on, and
They have to.
but they just kind of turn a blind eye, or they're being financially motivated to turn a blind eye.
Either financially or threatened, which, we know happens as well. Or just fear.
For sure.
Fear is a very powerful tool for these people. Yeah, they're scary individuals. Hello and welcome again to The Movement, a podcast to resource, empower and develop leaders in the fight against human trafficking. Today we have a very special guest, Adam Roark. Adam, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Who are you? What do you do? Bit of your background.
So born and raised in Houston, parents were born and raised here. I guess my wife was born here. Both my kids are fourth generation native Houstonian, so kind of a rarity.
Yeah.
These days.
It's funny. It's a town of people coming in. Mm-hmm. So finding long-term Houstonians. When you grew up, where were you in Houston?
Really close to this office, actually.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I mean, literally probably less than half a mile away, the way a crow flies.
Really? So where are we?
Kind of just outside the loop over off Woodway.
Yeah. So this was your area.
Mm-hmm.
Wild. It was smaller.
Much smaller.
Yeah.
Much less developed too.
I guess 610 existed.
Oh yeah. It's been there forever. As long as I can. And there's been construction on there as long as I can remember too.
It's true. It's still happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is the worst part of Freeway, just right here. So yeah, that's
for
cool.
sure.
So how your journey? What do you do for a living? Let's start with that.
So I do hospitality consulting, but I have had kind of a strange journey because most people in my family are either doctors or lawyers, and I knew that I didn't want to be a lawyer. So going into undergrad, I studied medicine until the end of my sophomore year.
Really?
And I was like, I'm out of here. And I called my dad, who is a doctor, and said, Dad, this isn't for me. And he looks me square in the eyes and says, hey, I guess I'm on the phone, so he's not looking at me, but I could feel his eyes on me. And so he says, you never would have been a good doctor. And he's,
what?
And I was like, this would have been very helpful 2 years ago because I'm at the end of my sophomore year.
That's wild.
He's like, would you have listened to me? And I was like, fair point.
Yeah, no, wouldn't listen
fair
at all.
point. So yeah, then changed to a finance major, past undergrad, ended up doing a number of treasury management, finance and accounting jobs, and then went back to business school. And from there is really where I got into leadership and learning, and really enjoyed I still really enjoy managing teams of people.
Yeah.
But it's taken a while to, I guess, learn it and learn how to do it well. Because I think the trick is not to be a authoritarian, but to empower the people to do the job and hold them accountable for their job.
That's wild. So when you came out of college, you were
clueless.
Clueless. But you grew into leadership. So what was that journey like?
I was very well empowered by my first boss, who's actually hired me 3 times throughout my career because he hired me to my first job. I quit because I was chasing money, and so I was going to get a bunch more money at this other job. It was a complete train wreck. He hired me back, and then he actually hired me into my first consulting job, at Grant Thornton too.
Wow.
Years later.
So he must have thought you were smart.
Or I fooled him.
It worked. Whatever you did, it worked. Yeah. Keep doing that.
I actually had lunch with him last Friday. So
you don't work for him anymore. So
right.
You're not beholden to a person.
Correct.
You're actually able to deliver.
Correct. Sometimes.
Sometimes. So what a leap. So financial consulting. How do you end up in hospitality?
So did a lot of performance improvement, I guess, consulting. I was an investor in a startup that really kind of was trying to cater to the hospitality world. Financial crisis happened in 07, 08, 09, that. And then I was offered a great opportunity to run a call center for a non-bank owner operator of ATMs. And from there, went and did consulting, which I absolutely loved. And I would have never left doing consulting, except for the fact that my father had passed away. My brother lived in Austin, and my sister had 4 kids under 4. And my mom needed help, and I couldn't be on the road 35 weeks a year.
I was trying to make the bridge there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you had to. So consulting was on the road all the time.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't know that. But
And so then from there, I got hired on to a spinoff of the startup that I worked for, out of business school that had just been funded. And so like went on to grow like their business, and then like that business actually sold for like a pretty good amount of money about like 12 months ago.
Wow. So still not bridging.
Yeah.
So hospitality started when you were like, I have to be in the same town.
But did some consulting for, I guess, Grant Thornton, like for some of the like tribal, I guess, casinos and stuff. So always kind of dip my foot in there.
Okay. So you were starting that journey, and so how long have you been in the hospitality business?
It's going to make me seem real old, but probably closer to like off and on for the past like 15, 17 years or so.
Yeah, you're so old.
I feel old because I turn old this year.
I turn old. I don't want to know. That's probably not what we want to put on a podcast.
No, I don't want to. Yeah, I definitely don't want to broadcast.
Well, that's good. So hospitality, that's where we're kind of, at least I was very interested in who you are and what you do. How did you know how you got involved first with RedM?
So I was invited to a dinner. I guess my wife, I guess you've met her before, but like you invited both of us to a dinner, like heard the message and was like, this is really a problem like in hospitality. And it's really an education problem, like in my view, because I don't think we're doing a good enough job as organizations in general, especially in hospitality, about educating people as to what to look for so that they can inform the authorities as to like what action like needs to happen.
It's got to be difficult, I think, in this space. I mean, there's certainly a lot of things I've heard about. It's in hospitality, it's in hotels, it's in motels. We've heard that on the show. We've had people come in who've been trafficked through those environments.
Well, hospitality is it's got a weird setup because you're going to have somebody who owns the physical dirt, like the property itself, that may or may not be the people who are actually managing the hotels, because you can hire third-party management groups to do it.
Wow.
The building owner is going to make a decision, like, are they going to brand Hilton, Marriott, or are they going to stay, like, independent?
Okay, so that's not normal for people who look at hotels. And I use hotels. My assumption was Hilton's out there deciding that, but it's a mix of players? Help me understand.
It's a total mix of players. And so like you'll have management companies.
Yeah.
Some of the management companies physically own the properties. Like some of them don't. They only do managements. Like some of them do into some combination. And then the owner of the property is going to make a decision like, do I want to be a Hilton? Do I want to be a Marriott? Do I want to be a Hyatt? And they're going to pay fees to do that and be held to that brand's brand standards.
Okay, so they say, I'm going to be that, and then someone comes in and says, this is how to do that. Who do the employees work for?
Usually it's going to be for a management company, which may or may not be the owner of that property.
Wow, that's wild. They're operating to someone's standards because that's the brand, but they don't work for them.
Correct.
That's wild.
Generally speaking, for the majority of the hotels, it's that way. You do have some owned and managed, like Hiltons or Hyatts and stuff like that, but and it used to be 100% the opposite because all the brands were very asset heavy, and they're not now because they're like it's all
business.
It's business, technology.
Well, I understand. I mean, there was that move where McDonald's moved into Shell. That was the first kind of gas station, where McDonald's realized real estate's not a great business to be in. And so they kind of moved in and started to share. And I guess that's the logic, is someone owns the building, somebody wants to have that. Do you know how they share profits? I'm just interested now.
So there's fees that get paid to the brands, and there's like minimum fees and stuff like that. And there's also part of the brand's authority is the fact that they have brand standards. And so if the hotel isn't living up to that brand's brand standard, there are big penalties, big fees, especially if they get kicked out of the brand.
Wow. So people will lose their status, and I guess that's when you see it change. I guess there's other reasons for them to change.
Yeah, there's ownership changes because a lot of REITs own hotels now, so...
That helps me a bit in understanding, because when you look at, let's say, airlines, they seem to be picking up training. There's still more. I think everyone has more to do. But hotels, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that there's enough awareness, because you see the signs when you travel. There's ads, there's different things around. Hotels less. And I know I've met some hotels, I'll avoid chain names, but where they're training and they're training employees. But I don't hear so many stories of employees identifying trafficking.
I mean, I think part of it also has to do with these hotels are training because they're trying to minimize liability.
Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, what's happened, from what I understand, is there's more cases of people who've been trafficked in hotels, and they're the big dollar to go after.
Absolutely.
They can't go after the trafficker. So they go after this chain because they could have done more.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we've got a growth of lawyers who are fighting the wrong person, in the human sense of the word. They're going, it's a difficult situation.
Yeah, in like it's tricky because I think we've all been involved in some sort of lawsuits.
Right.
But the lawyers are going to sue everybody because they might as well spend those dollars doing that.
Right. And they go where the money is. I mean, I know that from being in a large corporation. People will target because of, we have assets, we have things to go after. But it seems like there's opportunity.
Absolutely. And I think people are motivated to do it, but there's education that needs to happen because I don't think people even know where to start.
That's true. And that's part of the RedM approach. And so what things are you involved with so far? You're probably our first hotels person in RedM. So you're the kind of tip of the spear, I guess, and we're just starting. But what things are we working on?
I mean, I think like we've talked to, I guess, one like particular brand about like how we can get involved, like how we can help better educate like their employees because they're, I guess, not only just a brand, but they also have a management company and a number of owned properties like around, which I think is a step in the right direction. I think we just need to step on the gas a little bit about figuring out like what the right training is for the employees on the ground, I guess, at the hotel, because even if they do spot something, like we need to give them some sort of playbook as to if you see X, Y, and Z, I guess here are the signs. Here's who you need to call to try to solve this.
Yeah, I think if I'm an employee and I think of people I've known who work in that environment, I mean, you play it out. Someone's being trafficked in my hotel, which means there's scary traffickers around.
Right.
Why are you motivated to make the call when you might be afraid? I mean, that's the interesting challenge for the hotel world.
I mean, I think part of it is in I guess I've heard you say this like in like podcasts and other things, it's because it is our kids.
Yeah. Well, and you're opening up, I think, the secret to the strategy. I mean, it's the sad part of the reality is that our kids are being threatened. They're being groomed. They're being involved. And so it makes it more personal. I think you're right. I think that's people understanding that human trafficking is reaching into my home, into kids that I know, trying to pull them. And this isn't just someone who's being trafficked. Yeah, I think that's a good point, is that personal feeling of I have to do something.
But and I think there's also a like education problem in the fact like most people think, hey, okay, like if you go to a lower end hotel, like this is where all the bad stuff is happening, which is very much not the case because it's going to be in every hotel brand, every hotel type.
That's been our experience. So that's been my experience. I'm usually in the nicer hotels, relatively speaking. But you see, it took me years to identify that, I'm seeing girls trying to pick up guys all the time, and they are being prostituted. I've learned the language. People say they are prostitutes. They are not, for the most part. They are being prostituted by someone. But I've seen it all over the world in all types of brands. And, it probably does happen in the motel world. But yeah, we know it's there. And so I assume the staff knows, which is where the cases will be, where the arguments legally is who knows who's complicit. But there's definitely work to be done. And I think that's the positive, is there's an opportunity. Pulling employees in is going to be key. We did it with the airport. It was very helpful to get employees to understand the problem. What kind of world are you in? When you're in hotels, what do you do?
It's like a lot of like performance improvement consulting, like a lot of like work around technology.
How does that work, the technology in a hotel? I'm like, all I think of is getting your room. It's
as disconnected as just the entire structure, because you're going to have like what's called your property management system, which is like what you see your front desk agent like checking you in with. That's going to be connected to some sort of central reservation system, which is where the hotel publishes all their room inventory online. So it's got to have a real-time connection.
I'm getting a headache just thinking about it.
And so like Hilton has like their customized like PMS and CRS. Like Marriott has theirs.
Okay, PMS and CRS. I have to do this because people may not know what that is. PMS and CRS.
I guess PMS is the property management system, which is what they, I guess, check you in with, which is really the system of record for the hotel, because everything flows from there. And then CRS is how they publish their inventory.
Customer reservation system, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah, so I guess you'll see availability on like Booking.com, Expedia.
Okay. So it's a public interface.
Yeah. And so it's pushing it all out there, but to the individual channels, which are all also independently owned.
And there is I know there's another person we've talked to on podcasts before who does the follow the money stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There probably is work to be done in that space about known traffickers, names, accounts.
Absolutely.
But that would be hard to execute, I imagine.
Absolutely, because you've got to get that CRS data. Then you also have all the data protection laws,
Right.
It's California, it's all of, I guess, Europe with GDPR and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's tricky. What can you really piece through? How often do you have to parse it and, purge all those names?
Mm.
And so, it really depends by local jurisdiction, which is tricky, too.
And it's funny because you hear about stings, but you don't hear too many hospital stings. Hotel stings. But that's a possibility for our future. But no brand's going to want that, sting in their hotel. It's their balance of, how much they want the story not to be out that there's any risk.
Right.
And then the reality that there is risk. And so that's a challenge. Is there other tech in the hotel?
There's revenue management systems which help them, I guess, price their room. And then all your in-room entertainment is another section of tech in hotels.
That's probably an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And Wi-Fi. There's also tech that's slowly kind of coming out where some hotels are putting QR codes on walls for their cleaning staff and stuff. So if they walk into a room and feel threatened, you can scan those codes, which there's a huge opportunity there. And so that's going to alert the people who are managing the hotel, more of the front desk people and stuff like that, so that they can notify the police if somebody feels threatened.
That must happen. I mean, I assume.
A lot.
Yeah, I assume that's part of life because your doors are open to the world. So people are going to be in there. Threats will happen. A QR code sounds hard. I'm imagining I'm in a difficult situation and I go, hold on a minute.
Right. Well, there's also panic buttons that kind of do the same thing too, that there's some technology around that.
What is that, a panic button?
And so they would have a button on their belt. And so if they felt uncomfortable, they would just truly push that button. It's what's unique about that is it can use the GPS on that and pretty much show who's ever being alerted, what room they're in.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would imagine maybe some wearables would be sort of the answer, because you're dealing with elevation as well, which sometimes your
But
GPS
you can get pretty close to finding it pretty easily.
Okay. Yeah, the tech is advanced enough. So there's room there for more education, more work specifically on trafficking.
And probably fine-tune some of that tech. So if you're the Wi-Fi provider for that hotel, what rooms have problems.
Okay.
Very specifically, even if it's a 30, 40-story hotel, and or if the TVs are out, what rooms don't have signal.
Okay. So I don't need to call anymore.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well,
I should tell them you should know.
They should know.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's opportunity in this area. That's really why we kind of said let's grow RedM on the hotel hospitality space. Another place we're working is the World Cup. That's going to be interesting because we're going to look at probably the most intense use of hotels and transportation and that we've ever seen. I would imagine like having multiple Super Bowls over multiple days.
I was going to say, I know we've had this conversation, but maybe you can tell the audience about what happens for people getting trafficked, I guess, at these big events.
Oh, sure. So Super Bowl is considered the number one event in the U.S., mostly because we're measuring and we're watching. And what we see is the movement of individuals. They'll bring in, I say kids because people need to understand many of these are underage children who then say they're overage. And the reason they do that is because of vulnerability. They'll target young because they can manipulate and manage the teenage brain into working. And they also don't run because they can build psychological mechanisms. So kids, and if they're over 18, they were children before when they started. They'll bring them in and grow up for the demand. And what they're looking at from a market standpoint, they operate like a business, is they will look at where will I find isolated males, particularly the biggest buyer in their market. If I have isolated males with money, that's the magic alignment of where they're going to move people. So sports events have always been big. The World Cup, they're very careful with what they're doing because they get a lot of criticism, mostly on the labor side for trafficking. But we know that it will cause lots of attention to come, and so that's kind of our red card campaign that we're starting. So that's the Houston will be first, but we're going to hit or try to hit every single city with a campaign. But we're bringing in hotel brands, and that's where you've been helping and letting the hotels come in and start to talk together, which I don't know. I know there are groups talking about that. There's a lobby group, I believe, that works with hospitality. I don't see it anywhere going the way it should yet, but I think hotels is a rich environment.
For sure. It's just a big education. Like, we just need to do a better job of educating them and educating the owners and really having them realize how big an impact this is on them and their kids and their friends' kids and stuff like that.
I think so. I think that personal side will make the difference. What we do with employees, we're doing one today at your wife's company, where we do care package building. And usually that's a care package that will go to someone who's being trafficked. But in the presentation, what we try to do is get people on a journey of, yes, this is big, it's global, it's national, it's in your state, it's in your city, it's near your home, and it's targeting your kids. And once we've got that kind of basic idea out, now you've moved people from a kind charitable act to protecting your family. And that's critical. And usually what happens in a group of 30 people is someone will put their hand up and say, this sounds like my daughter. When you describe grooming, sounds like my daughter or my son. And 100% of those have been traffickers so far. So that's how close it is. If you say gather 30 employees, there's a high chance someone, well, either their kid has been trafficked or their kid is about to be.
Which is super scary.
Super scary, but also why not gather 30 people? Well, why aren't we doing this all the time? And so we do it with volunteers. But I think that starting with hotels, we did it with the airport, we're doing it in lots of different places. But hotels seems like the rich environment. And I love some of the tech stuff. I'm sure people watching will have ideas. But there must be things we can do to help the police focus on trafficking inside hotels and really do something about it. We walk past these people.
Every day.
Every day. It's crazy. We're in hotels walking past people who are being trafficked, maybe children.
And there's people on staff in the hotel that knows what's going on, and
they have to.
But they just kind of turn a blind eye, or they're being financially motivated to turn a blind eye.
Either financially or threatened, which we know happens as well, or just fear.
For sure.
Fear is a very powerful tool for these people. Yeah, they're scary individuals. What else can we do? Hotels, gathering. So what do we need if we describe it as a need? And someone's listening from the hospitality industry.
I think better training material for hotel staff.
Okay. So we have an ad campaign. That was where you first engaged. We have 4 ads that we've put together that we're trying to get out right now. One was airport ad. A hotel ad would be a good idea.
Yeah, and I think if we could get one of the bigger brands on board and use that as a use case for the other brands, like if you get a Hilton or a Marriott to say, hey, we're going to have this training for 100% of the people that are on staff, and you get traction there, the other brands are going to jump up.
Well, what we did with the airport, their goal was, could we just have one case? And I mean, the wrong measure is the staff being trained. I mean, the staff being trained as a measure is important. The effectiveness of that is really important.
For sure.
So that's what we did with the airport. They said if this training, we did 400 employees. If we can get one case, it's worth it. Well, we got 8 cases. They don't even like to tell the world. And it will be the same with the hotels. They're not going to want to tell the world, and it's not important to. We don't want press on this. We want it to stop. So employees knowing and feeling safe to report, that's going to be, it's a journey for us. But certainly, I think you're right. Take one hotel with one big brand. So if you're out there and you're in the hotel world, come to us. We can set it up. We can do training. And then it's more iterative after that. Then what do we want to do as a hotel, as a single location? Right.
And then I think beyond that, going to the brands and saying, hey, like, here's where we've been successful. Like, you have the same problem. And I mean, sadly, even if they don't hear the message like, hey, like, this is your kids too, from a liability perspective, they've got to jump on board.
And I think that's true. I think they're all moving, mostly because of the threat on their brand. But they need to think about the threat on their children and the children of their employees. And once we get that,
that's the key.
That's the key. I think so. I think it does make the difference. I think the human part PSAs, ways of getting people to start their journey. I think World Cup will be good for all the brands to get involved. And we have a few already coming along, and we have some airlines. I think as we do that, that's 16 cities.
Yeah, it'll start the ball rolling for sure.
It's a good target because it's next year. We have the tools. We know how to make it work. So what's your experience of RedM so far?
It's been fantastic. I guess I've only been around for about 6-8 months or so. I have learned a ton. I had zero idea how serious of a problem that it was and how close it hits to nearby communities.
Zero. You must have had some thought, but what was your exposure before you came to RedM?
So I had volunteered for a couple nonprofits. I guess one of them's called Life Alpha of Houston and Fifth Ward Crisis Pregnancy Center. Now I think it's called Houston Crisis Pregnancy Center, where you see a lot of women who have been abused, who have been in a bad place. So I knew that it was not in a good situation, because if you think about a life house, for example, 30, 40 years ago, the people that were being housed by them were women who were just your average, affluent, lady who got pregnant, I guess just out of wedlock, whose parents kicked them out. And so now, what you see a lot more of is people who have been in abusive relationships. A lot of times, they'll be homeless. It's a raw situation, but once you really dial it back and figure out, hey, this is my kids too, is really where it hits home.
So you had some view, and then what have you seen so far in RedM?
I think we're making the right efforts. I love the fact, just because I think all nonprofits should be judged on percentage actually going to the cause versus overhead, and I think RedM's overhead cost is close to zero, which is
close to zero.
Insane, but still a very effective organization.
I think that's what draws most people in, is that we're making a difference, and it's a discipline, because people come along all the time as we're growing and say, hey, you need to have a staff. And I'm like, yeah, but every staff member is $1 that doesn't go to help survivors. If we cannot, that's what I always tell people, if we can find a way to not do that, or at one point we were very stressed and everyone said, well, you're overworking everyone, you need to get some staff. And I said, or we need more people.
Right.
How about we need more people? That's what we'll do, or we don't do it.
I think the model that y'all have built, especially for the oil and gas world, if we can replicate that into other industries,
sure.
I think it'll be huge, because people want to solve this problem.
Yeah.
Once they're educated on it.
I think you're right. And we've had lots of people rally around inside oil and gas. We have a wireless group now. We've had the entertainment world a little bit, but there's more to do. I think hotels, I keep wanting to say hospitals. It's my head. But hotels would be fantastic. And I agree, actually, hospitals, they've been doing some work. The way I ask it, when people will say, oh, we're doing training. And then if you ask someone who works in the place, so that's why I think of hospitals and hotels,
right.
Their awareness is not strong. I had this same conversation with an airline. They said, we have the best training. We're getting calls all the time. We're dealing with it. And I'm like, but 2 of your employees invited me here,
right,
who knew nothing of that, and they have children. So yes, doing it well here, but there's a whole society.
But it's easy for the airlines to say it, especially from the higher ups there, as opposed to really knowing what's on, boots on the ground.
I think they are doing a good, because their numbers were pretty good, I thought, and I don't think all of them are great. And it's still scary to make a call in the middle of a flight. I mean, I think that's their high risk, and you're kind of captured. But I think there's always more. I don't know that they're personally connected to it in the way that they could be, and I don't think they think of their kids.
Absolutely.
And our kids are the risk that no one's really catching. And even when they're trafficked, it doesn't look like trafficking. So it's a very well thought out kind of process. Well, thank you, Adam, for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Very helpful, and we'll have you back on sometime soon, hopefully.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.